like to welcome everybody to the regular board meeting of the Richmond Township Board of Trustees. It's Wednesday, September 9th, 2020. Would everyone please stand and join me in the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Coleman.
Here.
DeVos.
Here.
LaFontaine here. Greenwald.
Here.
And Zolko.
Here.
Next item on the agenda is the presentation of the agenda. Does anyone have any additions? Hearing none, the agenda will stand as presented. Next, we have public comment. This is on items that are on the agenda. If you'd like to speak, please come up to the podium and state your name and address.
My name is Steve Murphy. You're live on Personal Road. You're going to be passing an ordinance tonight. I wonder if you take into consideration that we are an agricultural community, and a lot of farmers around here have cows, and when you dispose of their waste, that creates a big bad odor, and the more people we get, the more people are going to be won't like that. So I don't know if they're going to be grandfathered in all the farmers or the cows. But that could be a problem if you're passing this ordinance tonight. So, I mean, there's a big smell, especially on a hot summer night. It's pretty big smell.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment? Hearing none, we'll move to approval of minutes. A motion is ordered for the order to approve the minutes of the August 12th, 2020 regular board meeting.
So moved.
Is there support?
Support.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. We have the building department report, EMS report, office manager report, planning commission report, and NEMC minutes. A motion is in order to approve the consent agenda either as presented, or if you'd like to pull something down, please let me know.
If it's okay, I'll make a motion.
Is there support?
Support.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Next item on the agenda is the financial reports. The first item is approval of the bills. Motion will be in order to approve the bills.
So moved.
There's support.
Support.
If anyone has any questions for Kathy. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Next item on the agenda is the treasurer's report. Treasurer's office, please.
The September treasurer's report is as follows. In the general fund, fire funds, we had $729,628.58. In the tax account, we had $1,607,769.16. In the other PNC accounts, the recreation fund, EMS, senior and payroll accounts, we had $45,752.26. In the investment accounts at the Michigan Class, the North Star Bank, and the Michigan School of Government Credit Union, we had $387,412.62. And in the purchase of development rights account, we had $13,964.57 for a grand total of $2,784,527.19. To indicate to you that since the report was prepared, the tax account has changed. There's been some disbursement, but the tax monies are still coming in. We're only about roughly about 900 parcels have paid, so it's half. Half the parcels have not paid yet, and we're only 5 days away from the September 14th date. So we attribute that to whatever you want to attribute it to, whether it's COVID, whether it's unemployment, whether it's people just waiting till the last minute to pay, but it is a little slow this year, and we'll keep on collecting. We have the township put out the drop box outside for people to drop off their payments. Hopefully that'll be beneficial to them once they're having to come in, and certainly it will be beneficial for those people that are going to be dropping off hopefully absentee ballots for the election. Other than that, we have the supplemental reports for the township investments. We have the CD now of North Star, which is basically one remaining balance of North Star, which is on that statement showed when it was prepared before deduction for the purchase of the property. So that's half of what we have in the North Star checking account. That's about it.
Okay, does anyone have any questions for Bob? So I'm going to ask you just one quick question. You said it's pretty slow. Where are we usually at right now?
I usually, when we're within a week of the final date, we probably would own about 700. So they were 900. Well, a third lower.
Okay, if there are no questions for Treasurer Zalka, the Treasurer's report will stand as presented. Next, we have farmland preservation. Vern?
No report at this time. We have not met. The state has not, set what their intentions are in the near future. And everybody's busy, so we have not had a meeting.
Thank you. Building report, Jeff?
Just real briefly, we did check on the signage, with some hope that it might be done a little sooner for the next dedication, but just wasn't in the cards. We should have the new signs, I hope, up and in place by the next meeting, certainly by election time for the front of the building and the sign out by the road. On Friday, in preparation for those signs going in, there'll be a company here that's going to be basically power washing. If you look at those kind of sign posts, they're just kind of dark and discolored over the years, so they'll come up and clean all that brick up. Well, I've got them here. We're going to have them get on the roof on this side of the building. If you look, for whatever reason, at what will be the north side of the little cupola there that goes up on the building, there's basically like kind of green mold growing all the way up the side of the roof, from the shingle line all the way to the roof. So while we have the company here, we're going to have them go ahead and power wash that part off as well. We'll just make it all a little nicer out there with a new landscape and a new sign on there. So with that, I think that's really all that we have to report from.
Okay. Thank you. The assessor's report, she did give us a report, and I'm wondering if anyone has any questions. I can take them back to her, report to you on first file. Okay, hearing none. We're going to move along to unfinished business. First item under unfinished business was just an article that I found interesting, that they're going to consider removing marijuana from federally controlled substances. I had not heard that before. That will definitely make some changes. Next item on the agenda is discussion of the building inspector and plan review fees. I would like a motion to discuss the building department inspectors and their duties, please. Can I get support?
Support.
Okay, Bob, I'm going to turn this over to you.
Well, I asked that this be put on the agenda so that we look at this. I think Cindy has forwarded to us the contracts we entered into with both Charlie and Drew. And if you had a chance to look at those contracts, one of the things that stuck out in my mind is that Charlie was supposed to be helping train Drew and review of building plans. And it's my understanding from a conversation with our supervisor that Drew felt very comfortable in everything except their new home building plans. So I had a chance to talk to Charlie today. And I asked Charlie, I said, how's the training coming along with Drew on the new home building plans? And basically, Charlie has indicated that one of the things we're trying to do is serve the public and the residential homeowner when they submit the building plans, and so he tries to get them out as quickly as possible. I asked him, well, how many of those building plans have you gone over with Drew to try to see, give him the training that he feels he needs? And his answer to me was, it probably only done it about 2 or 3 times of the 14 new homes that have been pulled permits. I told him, I feel that if we're gonna give Drew the opportunity to be trained, he needs to be trained.
Yep.
And I said to Charlie, and I suggest maybe the board wants to follow up on this, is it may be important, and I think it's certainly important that we get the plans back and the approval back to the homeowner. But as a follow-up on that, I don't see why we as a board can't require Charlie to sit down with Drew on those plans that he's approved, maybe on a monthly basis, and go over those homes with Drew and point out what he's looking at and what he feels is important, so that Drew can understand that and learn from it. I don't think it's asking too much for them to meet at least once at Charlie's house to do that on a monthly basis. Because we're a year and a half into these contracts now, and for me to find out, and for me to learn that Drew's really gone over 2 or 3 plans with me, that to me doesn't tell me that he's been trained. Whether it's our fault or it's Drew's fault or Charlie's fault, the fact of the matter is we're halfway through, and I think we need to address that. The other thing I learned, I think Charlie told me that he mentioned that his license was up in September of next year. So basically, he's got 1 more year. So my recommendation in this whole scenario is that we as a board require them to meet on a monthly basis and give us, and have Charlie give us a report of which homes he's gone over with Drew, and take it from there. I mean, even if he goes back to the 13 or 14 that he's done, he pulls them out and sits down with Drew and says, here's what I looked at, here's what you have to be careful, and here's where you have to check. So we know that that's being done. I don't think we're, as a board, being diligent if we don't do anything this way. Because I don't want to face the situation, and of course I'm not going to be on the board next year, but the board shouldn't have to face the situation that Drew comes to us and says he's still not comfortable doing new homes at the point in time when Charlie's not going to be doing it. Because then you were looking at finding someone else to do this.
So Charlie was just assuming there was just going to be new ones. When it happened, that's when he was trained Drew and they couldn't get together at that time versus going all, or is it just?
The impression I got is Charlie, when he comes in and gets the plans, he wants to make sure the homeowner, you understand, get back to the homeowner. And they couldn't get together, whether because Drew's got his own business going and that situation. But if we set a parameter for them to have it done, then they'll know that on a monthly basis they have to get together and do 1 a month, whatever it is. That's my suggestion.
You feel that Charlie would be willing to do that?
I don't see why he would.
Right.
He's a wealth of experience, and I learned today he's been doing this for 55 years. So I told him, unfortunately, that experience is not something you get every day. And so we can pass that experience on to somebody else.
How do we keep track of this? So do you have any ideas how to keep track?
I think what I like to see done is after they meet, Charlie gives some type of, whether it's a verbal report to Kathy or a written report saying that on these 3 homes, new home permits, I sat down with Drew and we've gone through what I consider important and what I needed to review and approve.
Would you have to come to you or would you come to Chris?
That would be the building and
The
Cindy's
building comes
department.
under the supervisor.
So it's
I would like to come to you.
Okay.
Yep.
Or to the next supervisor.
And then Chris, or
Yeah.
whoever, yes. Yep.
Yeah, I think that's.
I wasn't hiding from it. I was just
No,
saying.
I know. No, it's there's a definite,
Timing.
yeah. And I feel like the written, like we have all our other reports, we give them under the consent agenda. Maybe we ask them to do that. Maybe we say, and I think it's a good idea, recommending, you said he's had 14 new homes since the contract.
He can go back.
Drawn.
Yeah, go back.
I think
It
if
was
he can
9
try to
last year
do
and
1
it's
or
5 this year.
2 a month, and that way Drew can ask some questions and, feel more
Even if he
comfortable.
doesn't do all of them, just say,
No, yeah.
we went over 3 this month.
Right, and just give
One
us,
over two this
and
month.
I think to be diligent, I think we need to know which ones they vote.
Oh, yeah.
So I know that we're not doing the
Oh,
same.
yeah.
I think there's fairly,
Me too.
I think there's fairly that would be good to go, when you go over it, Drew, but I wouldn't mind following Drew too. How the review go, Charlie?
Yeah.
Learning, they're picking it up.
Right.
Yeah,
How long-
What do you still, is there anything you're still not, yeah.
Right.
I think Drew will catch on pretty quick. I think he doesn't give himself enough credit sometimes for, but
So, if you want, the board wants me to make a motion, I'll make the motion. I make the motion that we instruct Charlie and Drew to meet at least on a monthly basis and Charlie report to this board in writing what new home plans have been reviewed by him with Drew and continue that at least for the next 6 months to see, have a review of it after 6 months, to see how far they go. And I'll include in that we can go back to the new homes from 2019 to the ones that are open this year, 2020, I counted 14.
I support it.
I'll support it.
Okay. Any more discussion? So, we've already voted, I'm just making sure, I'm going to call Charlie tomorrow. I'm going to tell him this is what we discussed, and then I'll call Drew.
And I think that Charlie's going to say, well, I have to prepare a written report. And I think that he can give the information to, he can't, get handwriting, I'm sure that Chris can type it up for us.
Right.
I'm sure.
And get it
You
to
can
us
do it.
on the
Yeah,
Thursday
and just
before.
get
You
in.
do it in one sentence.
Probably.
Yeah.
We met this day, yeah, doesn't have to be paid. Okay, any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Motion is carried. Okay, I will try to get hold of him tomorrow, both of them tomorrow, at some point, I'll let you know. Okay. Next item on the agenda is the adoption of the odor ordinance. A motion would be in order to adopt the Richmond Township Nuisance Odors Ordinance as submitted. And where it says contingent upon approval of the township attorney, she did get that to me today, so it can just add as submitted.
Motion to approve.
Is there support?
I'll support.
Is there any discussion?
I did have a concern, just like the one resident stated, about the agricultural part of it, but I understand also that we need to do this because of other circumstances, and you have to remember, a lot of agriculture is protected if they're following the right procedures under the right department. If they're outside of it, the right department does not give you a blank check, but it gives you some grounds to work on. Even us helps us what we can do, we can do so. I think we need to do it for other reasons that are happening within the township.
Anything else? Do you have anything, Chris?
No, I agree with you.
Kathy, do you want to share anything at all on this?
The only thing I had a question about is I noticed in some other communities that abide by this, that there was a amount allowable that was stated within the zoning ordinance.
I don't think it's stated in the ordinance, is it?
No.
You mean the
Yeah,
amount of smell?
Like it was like .46
It
or.
is actually, if you look in, I think section 3, go to D, and 1, it says it's measured, or persistent odor intensity measured at 7.
Gotcha.
Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, and you're good with that?
Yep.
Okay. So if there's no further discussion, all those in favor say aye. Motion carried. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the contract with Tri-County Engineering Consultants. The motion is in order to approve the contract between Richmond Township and Tri-County Engineering Consultants for engineering services to begin September 10, 2020.
Motion to approve that contract.
Is there support?
I'll support it.
At this time, I'm going to ask Mr. State to come up here and address us. I think that you had the information and you had time to look at the contract, and he did say he'd be present tonight if there were any questions. I will say, as I mentioned in my memo, that Chris and I met with him last week. Extremely easy to talk to, very knowledgeable, and I so appreciate you coming tonight. So, Bert, do you have any questions?
Nope.
No? Chris?
No, I think Are you working on the other day?
How long have you been working with Lennox Township now?
1997.
Okay. So you had to put up with that township supervisor over there?
No comment.
I have no idea.
Kathy, you have anything?
I'm good with them, yeah.
Okay, here no questions. All those in favor, or did you want to say anything? I'm sorry, if you want to comment, anything else?
We're super excited to work with you guys. Thank you for having us here.
We're excited to have you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. And I know
Thank you so much.
Lori does have, did you have his original contract up too?
Yeah, it's in
Okay,
it's
so
in
after the
that.
meeting, we can execute those if that's okay.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is to approve the termination letter with AEW. So a motion would be in order to approve that letter as attached to the memo.
I'll make that motion.
Is there support?
Support.
Is there any discussion?
This was something that the township attorney indicated we needed to do.
Actually, Mr. State brought with him and said that this was customary, that if you wanted to ask him, we could ask him that as well since he's here.
It's customary in the practice to have this type of termination letter?
Yes, this would have an official end date of the services, otherwise your contract, assumed contract will stay open.
Okay. Any more questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the contract with Cassidy Planning Services. A motion would be in order to approve the contract with Cassidy Planning Services as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Is there support?
Support.
Any discussion?
This is really different than what we have with
Nope,
right now.
not it.
Okay.
You're all good with it, and Vern, you're happy with them, you're on the planning commission, and you're happy with them?
We like it.
I know I talked to Kathy and Lori both, and we're really happy with them, so.
It's better and better.
See, you're okay. Okay, hearing no other discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Next item on the agenda is to adopt resolution 2020-12. Can I get a motion in that order?
I'll make the motion.
Can I get a support?
Support.
Any questions? I just want to comment again, thank you so much, Brandon. I cannot tell you how much we appreciated it. It was fabulous out there. We're super excited.
Thank you.
Okay, hearing no other questions, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion's carried. So the last item on the agenda is the approval of the COVID-19 CARES Act item. I did not get anything more in mind.
I know.
I emailed you all.
Okay, did everybody get it? So I just want to make sure. Okay, I didn't know if we were having it in here or not.
Did you email to me?
No, because I was doing after the agenda was out, I emailed
Okay.
you all individually.
Okay,
Somebody else did me.
so did everybody read the email?
Yes.
Did you guys read it? Okay, Laura, would you mind keeping copies?
I didn't read it.
I left my phone in the truck.
Color, so it doesn't.
Thank you, Lori, I'm really sorry about that. Oh, you got it, I apologize.
No worries.
Jeff, while she's doing that, I'm just looking at what we have. I just slowly, the balance remaining before the additions that you added, 14, 15, 16, that was 9,600, and then after those would be a little over the total. So it'd be like 1,000 over.
Yeah, about $1,000 over if we do everything. So basically, let me just a high-level overview and of all this. The township, as most of the board is aware, received about $37,000 in COVID CARES Act money that Macomb County sent directly to, Macomb County allocated directly to Richmond Township use. And of that, we looked into a number of different projects. The projects certainly have to be something that has to do with our response to the community to COVID or future mitigation issues that we would take to avoid continued spread of COVID. The drop box, the remote computer work, just to name a few, as well as things like PPE, disinfecting, extra cleanings of the building, and so on. So to date, the township has spent $27,662.70 on various COVID, what I call personal protective equipment, disinfecting, and/or mitigation strategies, which left a balance to spend, and we've gone ahead and applied for that because that's basically money you had already spent, so we weren't, if you will, outspending dollars that we hadn't already approved and allocated. We simply just got that application in, because the sooner we get the application in, the sooner you get your money back. Is how it works, the reimbursement program. So that left us a balance of $9,645.30, which we had not, which we still have available to the community to spend. And as soon as I get papers back, I can review with all of you what those projects can be or do not have to be. So one of the things I just didn't have a bill for yet, the drop box was eligible for COVID-19 CARES Act dollars to keep people from having to enter the building. So that included the cost of the drop box as well as the pad that had to be poured to put it on. I just didn't have the bill and the check yet when I did this first application run. So I included that as what will be the second application to spend the rest of that. So that was about $800, I believe, or just shy of $800 was going to be the amount of that pad. So that would get covered. We've talked off and on, even before COVID, about the potential of eventually doing some hands-free bathroom fixtures in the restroom throughout the building. That is eligible under this program as well. Keep people trying to touch things. When they go to the restroom area. This would take care of the project would take care of the sinks and the urinals, not the actual flush toilets. And the reason is our flush toilets in this building are really residential type flush toilets. They have tanks on them. They don't have an ability to put automatic flush on them without replumbing everything, which then gets a lot more money. Eventually we could budget to do that, but it was going to put us way over the top on our available dollars. So this would take care of the urinal and the urinals in the men's room, as well as all the faucets, and make them all hands-free. We had two bids, the lowest being the bid from Frost and Kresh out of Chesterfield at $3,984. The other was from Swift Plumbing. It was a little over $4,000 for that bid. Then, at the conclusion of the last meeting, I had mentioned to a couple of board members the possibility, thinking that probably, the future, unfortunately, of not only COVID, but as we move forward, whatever the next viruses that we may want to protect our staffs from, even the seasonal flu and cold, is probably ensuring that we have some separation between employees and the public. We have a really very nice looking building here, and the idea that we have basically a cage running across it right now to keep the public from coming around the plexiglass just isn't very aesthetically pleasing to me anyways. And so I asked the board members if they would mind if I would see if we could get a price to put up what would be a permanent wall there where that gate is at now, and then put a door in it so that the staff can certainly get up and let people in that need to come back for meetings otherwise. But look better than the current gate structure that might be permanent, if you will. And so I got Mr. Hector to come out, he's the fellow that built the board table and some other work here at the community for us, to give us a price on that. And I thought his price was very reasonable. It was $5,866 to put up that wall and door in place. If we did all of those things, we would be about $1,470 over the amount the grants would take. So our options are basically a couple. One is we could do all the projects and then spend $1,000 of our own money and get them done. Or we could take any one of those, well, the $800 for pad probably would get us all the way down, but we could take one of those projects out and, not do it. And then we could use that money, we still wouldn't lose the money, we just might use it for more, PPE, disinfectant, whatever. We'll make sure, these are federal dollars, they're gonna go back if we don't use them, so there's no upside to returning it for it. So one way or another, we'll get to where we spent our entire balance. It's just a matter of whether the board wants to go forward with these two a little bit higher cost projects in an effort to get, some things done that we might not otherwise be able to get done for $1,000. I would only say that $1,004, arguably, I always want the board to be well aware, could go to $1,500. And the other reason I throw that out there is simply anytime you're doing construction, no matter how small, you can run into some glitch that costs you a couple $100 more than you're expecting. So I want the board to be just kind of cognizant of that. Hopefully we get that budget, and Mr. Henry is very good about those things, that's why I trust him in that regard. But it's something that could come. So that's kind of where we're at. So really it's up to the board. If the board decides to move forward with these, I will notify the county tomorrow of what we decided to move forward with. They had sent an email here since your last board meeting that said they wanted to know, we didn't have to have all the money spent by September the 18th, but they wanted to know what we intended to spend the money on by September the 18th. So I want to get something back to them promptly, to make certain that they work.
Any questions for Jeff? Kathy, have any questions? Chris?
My suggestion would be to take the $800 we've already spent it, and leave it about.
I didn't get a bill.
But I mean, if
You
it
know what,
takes.
and I contacted Mr. Bertossi the day we met, whatever day that was, in your office, and he had texted me back and said he had put the bill in the mail. So I contacted him again, so he said he put it in the mail, and I assumed you received it. Or whatever, so,
I never only.
I thought that's all.
I will remind him of that, of the need to get that.
Right.
But that'll get us a couple $100 of,
Yeah, and then,
yes, and then you'll be taking a couple $100,
yeah,
of your budget.
because either way, if we go ahead and do all of them, we still got to pay $1,000.
Right.
Right.
So if they gave it, we just pay $2. We've already paid the $8, so.
Yeah, I'm in favor of just going ahead with the proposal as indicated by Jeff on 14, 15, and 16, so we end up paying a little more. But we're gonna get that on that partition, which I think is gonna be necessary, and the hands-free pictures that we talked about for some time.
Does the hands-free, does that take care of the EMS part of the building?
It does, yep, took care of our bathroom, we've only got one faucet, and we've only got one bathroom in that part of the building, so it takes care of our faucet in there. It takes care of the faucets and the urinals in these public rooms, and it takes care of the faucet in the bathroom, in the work bathroom.
So did you heard what Bruce said about taking the 800 off? You wanted to, and because we're in paid anyways, you just want to leave it on? I really want to make a
It really
motion.
doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be just as easy for me to leave it off in the application, and pay $1,000 of it anyways, and,
Okay, so then I would entertain a motion to approve the CARES Act expenditures numbers 15 and 16 for hands-free bathroom fixtures and a partition to separate employees from the public, as shown and reviewed by Jeff White, to approve those expenditures.
I make a motion.
Okay, can we just vote?
Support.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Again, Jeff, thank you for all your work on that. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Next, we have items for next agenda. I do know that Jeff told us we are going to have some people to swear in at the next meeting, which I'm very excited about. So that'll be fun to do at the next meeting because I like to do it. Does anyone else have anything else? My husband's laughing too. Does anyone else have anything to go on the agenda
It's going to be your last meeting?
that I run? Do my last meeting that I run?
However, you don't want to.
No?
No.
We all get sworn in for 4.
That's right.
Okay, so you're nothing else?
Is, we're doing that, October, so John usually comes in December? Okay, just wanna make sure. We won't do it on that.
Actually, Brendan did take it every now and then, it's like, don't worry. In the election commission,
Oh, yeah.
are you guys okay with coming a little bit early?
That night?
Yeah, the night of the meeting? Okay.
Any of the board members have anything?
Just for board information. I got some information from Keith Ring, our former supervisor, treasurer. He passed on some information to me about, I guess, I had completely forgot about this. City of Richmond provides water to those residents on our Native Ridge, some of our township residents,
Okay.
for some years. And I guess there's some talk now that they may be redoing the line, or redoing the lines, that we may get some issues from those township residents about whether they have paid for that improvement of the lines. So he gave me the material, the history he's got on it, so just want to make sure that I'll make it available, have Chris copy for everybody, have that available in case this comes down the road somewhere next term. Just want to bring that to everybody's attention.
Okay, anything else? Hear nothing else? Public comment? Or did you have something for?
No.
Okay, public comment? General?
Steve Murphy, 11 Personnel Road. I got a definition of transparency. Is it used as a means of holding public officials accountable and fighting corruption? And when the government's meetings are open to the press and the public, the budget may be reviewed by everybody. Its decisions are open to discussion, it's viewed as transparent. I still don't believe we had any transparency in land acquisition. I see where there was a purchase agreement, but there was nothing in the packets for tonight's thing, whether or not it's been approved, has been going through it, or anything on that. And also the Armada fire contract, all these people that are west of Quarterman, I believe are in danger, if there's a fire there, that we can lose people who could be killed and struck and burned down, because we got the Armada right next door on Olmo Road over there. That'd be better than the Richmond Volunteer Fire Department. So I think we should review or try to renegotiate this Armada fire contract. And John Paternak, who's the supervisor of Armada, agrees with me on this. Also, I like Mr. Jeff's idea about putting that wall there, because I think that would really help keeping the public from talking to our employees and transmitting viruses. I think that's a very good idea. Thank you.
Okay, is there any other general public comment?
Good evening. Good evening, everybody. I'm also on Christina. I would like to thank the EMS very much for coming to my house at least 6 times over the last 7 months. Thank you very much.
Any other public comment? All right, hearing none, motion to adjourn is in order.
Before we do that, let me make up one more point. Since Monday is the last day of collecting taxes, the gate is closed, and Cheryl brought up the idea, I just want to make sure the board doesn't have any problems with it. Lori's going to be working that day, and of course, Jan will be here. Cheryl's not going to be here in the morning, she's going to be here. We were thinking that if there's a lot of people here, and we only got the one window now, the little window, maybe we put that table or the table in our office by the gate, so that people could go there and you could process the tax payments and sitting at the table.
Through the gate.
Through the gate.
They did that the other day when I was in there. They were processing through the gate.
Yeah, so I'm thinking that
That's a good idea.
that'll allow you already work at that table instead of having to stand.
Okay.
So, what is that, about that? I'll ask
No,
just
good.
to maybe have
Thank you,
at
girl.
that table, but it's this, I think this table's probably much dirty, just on that side of the gate.
Okay, thank you.
Great, that's it.
Okay, now, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
There's support?
Support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried.
Thank you.